Today is June 13th, and if there is one place in track and field that seems destined to produce history, it might just be Eugene, Oregon. For generations, Hayward Field has been the stage for Olympic trials, NCAA Championships, World Championships, and some of the greatest performances sports has ever seen. On this day, June 13th, one of the biggest sprint breakthroughs in history happened right here. 12 years ago, an 18-year-old freshman from Baylor University stepped onto the track carrying enormous expectations. His name was Trayvon Bromell. What happened next changed sprinting forever. On June 13, 2004, Bromell ran 9.97 seconds to become the first junior athlete in history to legally break the 10 seconds barrier in the 100 meters. At that time, many believed a teenager could eventually break 10 seconds. Nobody had ever actually done it. Until Eugene. And that's what makes today's story so fascinating. Because 12 years later, the NCAA Championships once again conclude at Hayward Field, and the track world is wondering whether another historic night is about to unfold. Just 2 days ago, Adaejah Hodge stunned the sporting world by running 10.63 seconds and rewriting the NCAA-record books. Meanwhile, Jamaica's Dejanea Oakley enters tonight's final as one of the fastest collegiate 400-meter runners ever and a serious threat to produce another unforgettable performance. So as we look back at the day Trayvon Bromell made history in Eugene, we'll also look ahead to the athletes who may be ready to create the next chapter of Hayward Field legend tonight. Let's go back to 2014. Before he became a World Championship medalist and one of the fastest men in history, Trayvon Bromell was already being viewed as the most gifted young sprinter the sport had ever seen. Born in St. Petersburg, Florida, Bromell emerged as a sprint sensation while still in high school. His combination of explosive acceleration and natural speed made him one of the most talked about athletes in the United States. By the time he arrived at Baylor in 2013, expectations were sky high. And he didn't take long to prove the hype as well. During the 2014 season, Bromell began producing performances that made the world wonder whether a teenager could do something that never been done before. In March of that year, he ran 10.07, equaling the world junior record. Suddenly, he wasn't just one of the best young sprinters in America. He was matching the fastest junior performances ever recorded. Then came another warning sign to the sprint world. At the Big 12 Championships, Bromell blasted an incredible 9.77 seconds. The mark was wind assisted and couldn't count as a record, but it showed everyone exactly what was possible. The speed was there. The question was whether he could do it legally. As the NCAA Championship approached in Eugene, anticipation was building throughout the track and field world. Everyone knew the record was vulnerable. Everyone knew Bromell was capable of something special. But one barrier still stood. No junior athlete in history had ever legally run under 10 seconds. Several athletes had come close. Some had run 10.01. Others had flirted with the barrier, but nobody had crossed it. Then Eugene arrived, and one of the sport's greatest milestones was about to fall. The stage was Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, one of the most famous tracks in the world. A venue that hosted Olympic trials, NCAA Championships, World Championship, and countless historic performances. In the semi-final round, Bromell exploded from the blocks. His acceleration was electric, his transition was smooth, and as he crossed the line, the clock revealed something the sport had never seen before: 9.97 seconds. The wind reading was legal. The barrier was finally broken. For the first time in history, a junior athlete had officially run under 10 seconds for the 100 meters. The performance wasn't simply a personal best. It was a world junior record, a historic milestone, and it instantly cemented Bromell's place in track and field history. The teenager who arrived carrying expectations had delivered something far bigger. He had changed what people believed was possible. Bromell's performance changed the perception of young sprinters forever. For decades, the 10-second barrier had been viewed as a line that athletes generally crossed only after years of development. Bromell shattered that assumption. He showed that a junior athlete could compete at a level reserved for the world's elite professionals. And while several juniors have since run under the 10 seconds barrier, Bromell will always be remembered as the first. The performance also launched a remarkable professional career. Over the years, he would become a world championship medalist, one of the fastest men in history, and a consistent contender on the global stage. But perhaps equally important was where it happened. Hayward Field once again proved why it occupies a special place in track and field. When history needs a stage, Eugene often seems to provide it. 12 years after Trayvon Bromell rewrote the record books, Eugene once again finds itself at the center of the track and field universe. The NCAA Championships conclude tonight at Hayward Field, and if the first 3 days of competition are any indication, we could be heading towards another historic evening. Back in 2014, fans arrived wondering whether a young athlete could break through a barrier that had never been broken before. This week, Eugene has once again become a place where barriers are falling. Just 2 days ago, Jacoby Thorpe produced one of the most shocking performances in track and field history when he ran 12.75 seconds in the 110-meter hurdles, breaking the world record and becoming the first athlete to ever run faster than 12.80 set by the legendary Aries Merritt. It was the first world record set at the NCAA Championships in 50 years, and it instantly transformed Hayward Field into the center of the athletics world. Now the spotlight shifts to the women's finals, because after witnessing a world record earlier in the week, nobody truly knows what this track is capable of producing next. If Eugene is once again preparing to produce history tonight, two athletes sit at the center of the conversation. The first is Adaejah Hodge. What she accomplished earlier this week wasn't just fast, it was historic. The British Virgin Islands star exploded to a stunning 10.63 seconds in the women's 100 meters, breaking the NCAA record and immediately placing herself among the fastest women ever to step on a track. In a single race, Hodge transformed from one of the best sprinters in collegiate history into one of the biggest stories in the entire sport. And what's perhaps most impressive is that she wasn't finished there. She also advanced through the 200 meters, showing that her speed is translating across multiple events and setting up for a possibility of an unforgettable championship double. Now all eyes turn to the final. Was 10.63 the perfect race? Or was it simply a preview of something even faster? That's the mystery hanging over Hayward Field tonight. But Hodge isn't the only athlete carrying enormous expectations on the final day. Jamaica's Dejanea Oakley has quietly built one of the strongest seasons in collegiate track and field history. Representing Georgia, Oakley enters tonight after producing a world-class 48.92 earlier this season, establishing herself as one of the fastest women in the NCAA history and one of the leading contenders for the title. She followed that performance with a brilliant 49.48 during the regional competition and has looked composed and efficient throughout the championship rounds. Tonight, she has the opportunity to cap her collegiate career with an NCAA title and potentially produce one of the finest 400-meter performances ever seen by a Jamaican collegian. One athlete is chasing even more sprint history, another is pursuing one of the biggest victories of her career, and both will step onto the same track where 12 years ago, Trayvon Bromell changed history. June 13th has already given track and field one unforgettable moment. In 2014, Trayvon Bromell became the first junior athlete to ever legally break 10 seconds. Tonight, the same city that witnessed that historic breakthrough could deliver another chapter of track and field history. Will Adaejah Hodge lower the NCAA record? Can Dejanea Oakley produce a legendary 400-meter performance? And what do you think will be the performance you remember most from Eugene when this night is over? Let me know in the comments. And if you've enjoyed reliving the greatest moments in track and field history, subscribe and come back tomorrow for another edition of This Day in Track and Field.